more boring discussion.
Okay, we're recording.
It's amazing what you learn as a captivate developer.
So I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:10. Huzzah!
Hey.
Ta-da! Hey, Exchequer.
Present.
You don't get out of it that easy.
I'm sorry. All right, very high level, at this time, it looks like we are going to be in profit from barmaids. The high notes for everyone's awareness, we had 105 adults at gate, 90 adults at gate, 21 non-member adults at gate.
Wow.
Then another 20 youth and 8 comps. The number's a little bit different than we planned. We expected to have more members, less non-members, which is in our favor. But we do have an issue. Kingdom inadvertently never changed our PayPal rates from the pre-reg to the full price. And so everyone that used PayPal got the pre-reg cost. At this time, that looks like that cost us about $275.
Ouch.
And we are still in profit despite that happening. We'll probably still come out about $250 to $330 a month. So I know I put the call out in the chat group that most of us are in to please get your reimbursements in, trailer, gas, one-off items so that we know exactly where we landed. But for today's minutes, $250 to $300 feels like a good average unless we really get some straight receipts at the absolute last minute. And I've notified Kingdom so they can watch out for that for other groups. So maybe we can help a friend go through the same situation. All of our cash is deposited. It'll just be those receipts, and we have $100 of refunds to issue. I'm waiting for those members to get me the reimbursement forms, and then you and I can do a check writing session, or Cindy and I can do a check writing session. We'll get those out. But financially speaking, Barmaids was successful.
Yay.
And I'm sure Lord Nicola will talk about all the other more fun parts of Barmaids. Does anyone have any questions about the money aspect of Barmaids? Yes.
What is the due date for those reimbursement forms?
30 days from the event is when we have to close the books.
When would you like them by?
I mean, 5 days before that would be lovely, not the night of, but I mean, it cut in the next couple of weeks is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. 14 days is fine, 21 days is fine, 28 days hurts. Then I gotta stay up late.
All right. So the next 5 days.
Right? All right. Any other questions about Barmaids? Da-dum-dum. Okay, other good news. Da-na-na-na-na-na. This, friends, is the 2022 Mons budget. Lovingly copied by her ladyship Gwen, with handwriting all over it, so we at least had a copy. This, friends, is now the 2023 budget. We have found the 2023 budget. We now know what every officer was actually awarded out of the 2023, and I can now compare it to what you had the prior year if it's totally weird.
Those notes are 2023 from December's budget meeting.
Oh, it's just on the 2022 copy. I feel you.
Okay.
Okay, so perfect. So we have that information. I need to get with every single officer probably over the next week, talk about the money that you had awarded, talk about how you can use it, get people in the groove of that so that people use their money in all of the good and sundry ways. But the budget issue is no longer an issue, so more to follow as we meet with everybody on that. All right, where we are behind, Financial Committee did not meet in April because court was canceled for April, which was going to be our quarterly BFC review meeting as well. So Financial Committee is about a 1 month off and us getting together and reviewing the quarter close. It'll probably end up happening with the May court session, but I will get with the 5 BFC members, make sure they're available. If not, we'll pick another time. We'll publish. It'll be recorded. You can watch remotely. But we need to go through all of our quarterly fiscal financials and sign off and do the things. Right after that, we need to get back on the book audit, which is the counting of all the things and the accountability of all the things. Regalia is already deep into their personal audit. Chatelaine has already started. I'm now fully in the books. Seneschal and I have all the printouts we need. We've wiped everybody out of QuickBooks that didn't need to be in there. We are come out of the book audit with less open items. things, but we need to still physically hold it and do the thing. So book audit will be one of the next things coming up. And then after that, anyone who is interested, just remember that while Exchequer is not running the gate for coronation, it's a Kingdom event. If anyone is willing to sit in, Kingdom was looking for help. I've already gotten a note that Megan is interested. I'm interested. I forwarded that to Cindy or to Mindy. But if anybody else is interested, there's an event there, and we don't want any Exchequers left at the gate. So I will continue to bang the gong for my brethren. Anything you guys have questions for me? And to have your copies of the bank statements for April, for you and I to sign after the session. But any questions? That closes report.
Hey, night marshal, perfect timing.
Hey!
I need to double check with Cody because I was out for a chunk of the month. First fighter practice, we had 8 fighters and 2 newbies of those. The last fighter practice before barmaids, I do not know. I have to get with Cody to get those numbers.
Thank you.
Rapier, I can't see because I have my wrong glasses. Is Nicholas up there somewhere?
He is not up there.
He is not, he is
Okay.
working.
Okay, or Zagan, archery.
Alright, first things first, I apologize for not adding the Excel spreadsheet. So no, you weren't going crazy.
Okay.
I will send that tonight, shortly after this. But on the 28th was the start of barmaids, and we closed the range due to winds, gusts of in excess of 20 miles an hour. On the 29th, we had 1 archer. On the 17th, no, I'm sorry, on the 16th, we had 7 archers. We had 3 atlatls, 2 brand new on the atlatl. And then on the 2nd was 7 archers. Again, we had 2 atlatls on that one, and then 5 actual archers. And I will send that right after this when I get back to the house.
Appreciate it. Weapons?
Oh, on the 9th, there was 1 thrower. 23rd, I do not know, I was not there. And barmaids, we had 4 throwers.
And no blood.
No blood.
Hey, Harold.
Fairney held court on April 29th at Barmaids, and several awards were given. I did post it in the Facebook group, so since Kingdom seems to be doing that, I did that too. During the month of April, I did one name and device consultation, a follow-up on a device that was returned, 2 new badges, and I also worked on 2 Baronial badge resubmits that should go in sometime this week, as soon as I find an envelope. If you have a new submission, you can pay for it at gate at coronation, so you don't have to figure out those old-fashioned things called checks anymore.
So did we mail off our submissions, or did we get them to you to mail off, or apparently at coordination to mail off?
Oh, no, you mail your submission.
Okay.
Yeah, you mail it yourself.
I'm
And
trying to remember to do that.
yeah, and then you can pay for it at coronation at gate.
Is there a strong oak?
Yes, yeah, since last time we had Cochise Expo, we had several wonderful gentles that came and sat at the booth and talked to peoples, and they were all very happy that we were there, and we'll probably do it again next year.
What day was that?
It was the 21st, Friday. The next official Strong Oak thing will be in August with the club fair. It'll be near the end of the month of August.
Arts and sciences?
Let's see. There was no actual court during April, there was no ANS, because everybody was preparing barmaids. ANS, there we had 4 classes at barmaids, and they were actually very well received by everybody. We had quite a few people for all of the classes, and everybody was having a good time. Lady Levicita and I are working on trying to come up with a date for her Coptic book binding, and we're gonna get more information out. I just put out today a thing on the Book of Faces for the Largesse Derby during coronation, and we decided to make it their Majesty's choice, so it'll be a King's Choice winner and a Queen's Choice winner. I figured that would be nice for them, since they're just coming in and everything. And we'll have a display. Lady Levicita will be running that for me, as I will be in Mesa that weekend. I'd love to be here, but, and we'll have a few other classes and everything that are coming up. We're going to have Celtic wire weaving this month after court.
I thought I was doing Lucette.
Or Lucette, thank you.
I could do
No.
wire weaving.
No, I was mistaken. I was thinking, my brain hadn't switched over yet.
Just the wire weaving.
And then Bobby is going to do have a presentation on ancient Incan history and things, and how it impacted the new world as opposed to the old world. And then a few other classes are in the works. The Lady Gwen is going to do a series of things on heraldry that'll start in July. Yes, ma'am.
I have been asked to teach kintsugi, pottery repair, Japanese gold repair, and Japanese handle wrapping. So whenever you have an opening, I will take it.
Now are those what are the time constraints on those? Are they more workshop or are they more...
The actual doing of the things we can't do in an hour. The handle wrapping we can, because it's literally, I can just show you how to start that and then they can finish it on their own. The kintsugi will be more of a class of, here's what you need, here's the process. But due to the fact that it requires drying time, it won't be a make and take by any stretch of the imagination.
It'll be more of a workshop type of thing, where maybe on multiple days.
That would be, actually would have to be over probably multiple weeks, because again, there's drying time for the urshi, so that.
Well, if you want to send me information at moas@bmmt.org,
okay,
we can start getting that set up.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds way cool.
Yes, ma'am.
A reminder, you should buy your wool now for your Viking coat for the workshop in July while they're like on clearance or whatever. Don't wait. It'll be much more expensive if you wait till right before
winter.
I was going to get that out tomorrow, but thank you for the reminder.
Should that be a Facebook event? Class?
Yeah, where would be?
Yeah, I thought it already was.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Okay.
Oh,
So we should make that.
maybe it is. Who created it though?
I
I
remember
think
seeing
there
posts.
is somewhere.
There was one that-
It's not like the others.
There was one that Mistress Mariette had done about a year or so ago, that they did do it via live feed. So since it was during the middle of the plague and a lot of people couldn't go over to her studio, she let live feed it so people could watch it. I got to catch part of it.
It's happening at her place, right? So I should
I
contact.
believe so, I'm still in the process of getting more
It should
information.
be at Marriott's, and Hay Mangel is actually coming to teach
I
it.
should go find that post again and try to
Yeah.
make an event if there's not one already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get more information out about the code class.
Yeah. That's on my list for tomorrow after.
Anything else, or is that?
That's pretty much it, unless anybody has anything that they would like to either teach or see if we can find something else to do, then let me know.
Or a wish list of classes to go on.
Basically that, yeah, thank you, that was the shorter version of what I said.
I sort of forgot for us to firm up that shearing day for Saturday if people wanted to come see the animals get sheared, but the post is out there so people will come, but if you want to flip it, we could make it more of like working wool and dyeing and spinning. Well, it may be short notice now for people to come and actually see the animals get sheared, but we can just flip it into wool prep if that's still an interest.
For this coming Saturday?
I can just do a different workshop with just the bags of fleece and start from there too. It's a lot dustier, but you know. But I'll push again on, I mean, anyone's welcome to come to the shearing, but we probably didn't make it much of an ENS thing.
Well, you were kind of,
Yeah, because the shearer kept moving dates.
yeah.
So yeah,
I can bring my clippers.
do it.
I got dog clippers. I share one of my dogs.
How long would those last?
Well, shearing itself is a 3-hour event. It's just seeing it go down, which I'll be documenting for an ENS submission for animal husbandry. But then the wool working, the cleaning, the combing, the carding, the dyeing, the spinning is more the after production. They're really two different things, but it's that time of year. So this is wool season for us, so it's the time to do it.
What time is the shear?
9 to 12 traditionally, but the shearer comes from Phoenix, so if they hit traffic, they hit traffic. I would say by 10 it'll be underway for certain.
Well, that's the
Saturday, yeah. Once a year.
Once a year.
It's just once a
She's
year.
like, don't you dare.
It's an expensive hobby twice a year. Yeah, we'll just come out of it with hefty bags full of fleece, and then we can get together and actually do a wool workshop. If there's interest in that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. That, yeah.
A working wool workshop. So if anyone wants to come Saturday, I'll redo the post and just say if you want to see alpacas turn into naked poodles,
Yeah.
Saturday is the day. Because that's what they look like when they're done. They go from this big to that big with a top knot, and they look like poodles. And then we'll actually do something with a wool a different time.
He calls our dog a naked mole rat after I get done.
Mole rat is a good analogy. Hairless cat is another good one. Okay, well then I'm
You'll
good.
redo that, and then I'll get your address, because I know you're just like right across Ramsey from me.
We're not far enough. Thank you.
That's anything on the phone? I think I saw Lady Leave seat up there.
Yes, she
Yes.
Okay. With these classes, I can do one or the other.
I feel you.
Lady Lincita,
Yes,
do you have a chronicler report?
I'm accepting articles until May 10th for this quarter's Thunderbolt. So please get them to me at chronicler@bmmt.org. Since we've been doing this quarterly now instead of monthly, the last Thunderbolt was last quarter and it went out, I think, end of May. No, end of February, beginning of March.
We will go through and see where we need to get postings for officers that we need.
Yes, please.
In there. Okay, we'll
Okay.
get those to you.
You know where to reach me. I look forward to hearing from you.
We know where you live.
I know where to work.
Okay.
Okay, Lady Megan.
For the Webman report, mostly I worked on barmaids posts and post updates and helping to make things easier to navigate. If people used the website to look at barmaids information before, during the event or whatever. I did print QR codes, but I forgot to post them until the day of, and I'm like, they've got a nice printed out schedule. those, so I was like, that was really funny. I realized that. And that was mainly what happened since the last officers meeting. Going forward, I'm at least looking at helping migrate another barony to the Kingdom's Google G Suite. So that was a big undertaking for us, but I had a little experience with it. So hopefully this should go a little better and we can repeat the same process. This one might be, let's see, I don't have the name down right now for it. B2I, right? Seriously here.
That should be fun.
Yeah, that'll be on my plate next. And that's it. We have a question.
Yes, a while back, when we transferred to the new website, all of our plague-based videos just kind of decided no longer to be present. Is there maybe a project for reinstating them? Because I know I have most of them as previous webmen.
You and I talked about that, and I
yes.
had to get to it because of the event stuff that were happening in right after we talked about it. There's a couple other things on my plate that I have to get to as well, but I'm wondering, and it's good that you have the information, the videos, but before we kind of take up our time with transferring the videos to me to put on the website, because that will take up a chunk of time, it might simply be a matter of re-linking it.
I was linking it and I can continue to link it. I don't know that transferring is an issue unless that space is gone.
I'm not 100% sure, but we can work on that later. I'm not sure about if the access is the same, because I know some things were kind of wonky, like, and just needed relinked or re-accessed or done a different way. And that affected like the calendar or other people's access or the way that it worked out with the website since it was on Kingdom's platform. So that changes permissions a little bit. So yeah, we can work on that.
Okay.
If that's a concern.
Let me know when.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Social media?
Good evening. Social media still exists.
Yay!
Yay! We had no complications. Yay!
Yay! Huzzah!
Let's see. Question for Lisa. For the post that you made today for the largesse derby, where are all the places you posted that?
Just the one on the Barony site.
Cool. I will post that to all the other places.
Thank you.
And do we have a date in July for the wool coat event? I found the original post, just not a date.
I haven't gotten a date yet.
I don't think that Mariette and Angel had solidified that.
All right. Once I have a date, I'll be able to create the event. Are there any other questions? Don't ask that question. All right. That is it. Thank you.
I dare you. What
is this called?
Hey, is Lady Naomi up there?
I know for a fact they did some pretty awesome work for barmaids.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yeah. She's probably in recoup mode. I had her under my vending tent for a little while and she was
They'd love to see that.
doing her thing and I know she was a bit stressed. Yes.
So in addition to her musical pursuits and helping folks out, because her mom was silly enough to have a fight with the tent stake, she also had to repack, pack and unpack, and she's physically exhausted. So she apologizes for not being here. But we all think she's amazing.
Yes, we do.
It's true. We all know she's amazing.
Facts.
It's Lady Isabella. Lady
Chaska.
Chaska, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay. I can't see anybody, but I've been listening. So I got a fairly quick report. We had our first garb repair day. Started with about 3/4 of a full tote full of things that needed to be fixed. And before we were done, they had all been fixed.
Huzzah!
Yay!
Yes, we were very happy with that. and Her Excellency brought some additional donations. So I need to add those to our inventory list. I would like to hold these repair days about every month or so. Next one I'm looking at is May 13th, if that's a good date. And if we're not repairing garb, then it's we can be making stuff, either our own stuff or stuff for the
I have a conflict with May 13th.
okay.
I actually need some assistance in sewing the canvas cover for the Costco, and that is our only weekend free.
Lady Shaska, your garb day is scheduled for the 14th of May, not the 13th.
That's a mistake because it's a fighter practice day, so we were talking about moving it.
Okay, either way, the 13th and 14th is the only open weekend I have, and I need help sewing that canvas because I don't have a machine that will do that.
Okay. I think mine will do it just fine.
So,
cool.
And if mine won't do it, then I know that Lady Kator has a machine that will definitely do it. But I think that mine will do it.
So now
Mine will do it.
I can.
You want to do that at the Roguehaven studio, correct?
I don't care where it happens. I just need it to happen.
Because you need it for the following weekend at Coronation, right? Okay, so we got a 1 week timer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something we can
So, I mean, I'm currently cutting out the pattern. So the pattern will be cut this week. And if you guys really want to take it and sew it,
great.
You can do that. I'm okay with it.
So we need to make a plan then.
I'm pretty sure my machine will take it.
Okay.
It's smaller than those 20 by 30 pavilions, right? Yeah, it's only 10 by 20.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, how big are we talking about?
So it is an old canvas tent, an old canvas top that I am cutting. It is actually surprisingly thin as I was cutting it. It is actually thinner than the canvas that our black and whites are.
Yeah.
So it should be relatively easy to put together once I have the pieces cut out for you guys.
Okay. Okay. Why don't you email me and let's talk about it so we can make arrangements.
Cool.
And
thank you.
Sure, absolutely. I did take garb, some flyers, business cards, all that stuff to barmaids. I still need to decide, or we need to decide where the chatelaine needs to set up. But that's a discussion for further down the road. I did hand out some garb, and so that made me feel good.
Yay!
Chatelaine, you have a 10 by 10 pop-up that is yours to set up at events.
Okay. I thought I had one, but I wasn't sure.
Yes, you do. You have one.
So does she just have to order it through you and say, can we bring
She
that?
just needs to let me know to bring it out, and it will be
simple?
Yeah, I'll say that goes for all of us. Like anytime we have an event, all of us go to Regalia.
I didn't know she had it.
Well, I think that's all.
I am going to talk about that.
Okay. I want to thank Megan for going to the fanfare in Stafford and talking about sewing garb.
Yay!
Yeah, amen. Huzzah. Oh, we have now, or we are in the process of getting a dedicated grommet maker.
Wow. Yay.
Yes. So no more pounding them in with hammers.
Jeez, Ronnie.
I'll have more details on that as to where we're going to sew it and that sort of thing. But we have a grommet. installer maker.
Lady Chatska, this is Katra. I still need yourself and the regalia officer to let me know how you're gonna break that cost down so I can get that in both your budgets though.
Okay, Kay and I'll talk about that and let you know.
You got it.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. All right. I'm assuming Lord Niccolo is up there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Cook's Guild.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we actually do have some awesome things for Cook's Guild planned. I talked with Lady Marinette. We're actually going to move Cook's Guild to the Rogue Haven studio, is where we're going to start holding it at.
All right.
And we are going to start a research project where we are going to research an authentic Middle Eastern feast, all the way from textiles to food to decorations to dance and song. And we're going to put all this together and try to put an event together around that. I am working with her this week to find out when would be the best time to use the studio for a Cook's Guild meeting. I will get back to you on that as soon as I know more.
Sure.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the Cook's Guild planning anything for coronation?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lord
That
Niccolo.
doesn't mean I can't do something.
I heard me.
He can't hear something. Do you want to say something real quick about barmaids, since we have you handy?
Yeah, sure, since I'm here. So from where I was sitting inside the kitchen, Barmaids was a wild success as of the feedback that I got while I was at the kitchen. Yes. Everybody was talking about how awesome Gate was and how easy it was to check in, how nice the people at Gate were, and also how decorated our gate was. I also got feedback that our marshals on the field were very responsive and that they were there to help when needed. And a big shout out goes out to Taka, because I had a couple of people up and come, hey, that guy over there, Taka, he's a really amazing guy. And this scenario was really awesome. And that's talking about suit and rapier. So just an FYI.
It's all eyes.
Also, the food was amazing at Barmaids.
Yep.
We were all fed.
I'll let our lovely Baron say some feedback that he got from His Majesty that he passed on to me. I'll let him say that. His Majesty also talked to me and reiterated those same words to myself. And I will let him speak to that. But I want you guys to know that as far as it goes, Mons is known for its hospitality, and we made that known at Barmaids. So give yourselves a pat on the back.
Yeah.
So Craven, right after court, turned to me and he said, you know, this is how Adventure's supposed to be run, and Kingdom is trying to catch up.
Oh, great. That's so nice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean, it was short, it was direct and to the point, and I took it as high praise for everybody that was involved in this event.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Knowing Craven personally, yeah, it was.
So,
Good job, guys.
Yay.
as a Barony, I'd give us an A+. We did pretty well.
Yay.
Okay, maybe an A.
I got chills. It's good.
There's always room to improve.
There is always
Okay.
room for growth.
Is that all, Niccolo?
The only other thing that I have to say about Barmaids was that for those of you who don't know, I want to give a personal shout out. I know they're not in the room, but next time that you see Heinrich and next time that you see Taka, which he might be there, I just can't see him. I want you to give both those guys a big pat on the back because they stepped up to fill in shoes when they weren't even asked to do so. And that meant a lot to me. So thank you for that. Other than that, I feel very bad for the next autocrat of barmaids. I don't know how you're going to do it, but good luck.
We'll figure it out.
The next,
All right, thank you. All right, so Awa posted earlier to me that she wanted time to speak, and then Taka posted to me this afternoon that he wanted time to speak. Is that
that is two different things.
okay? So we are at 7:45.
Yeah, I will try to make this quick.
Okay.
So the first thing about the Costco, I will be sending the email to the Chatelaine to arrange time to get the canvas sewn. I spent this afternoon working on getting the pattern pieces cut out. So equipment. This is my job, is the equipment. I am currently working on a list of assets that can be borrowed by populace, by officers, for events and baronial sponsored things like the Cochise Expo, if they want to borrow a pavilion potentially, or equipment for other demos or whatnot. I will be creating a list of what is available to be borrowed, and I have already created a form that when you borrow it, I can basically sign the items out to you, and therefore we can keep track of it. When you borrow an item and I sign it out to you, you are going to be responsible for transporting it, making sure it doesn't get damaged. If it does get damaged, repairing it or replacing it. Because I can't do it all, and I shouldn't also have to do it all.
No.
But I already have a form. I actually sent an email to Megan earlier this evening about putting that form on the website so everyone can have it. Speaking of autocrats, I'm putting together a different checklist for basically event supplies like trash bags and so on, so that event autocrats can put in a better bid for what they need, based off of what we have or don't have. In that list will also be things like the dragon wings that we have, the pavilions that we have, and generally where we use them during an event. Like the fact that thrown weapons and archery need shade, and we generally use one of our dragon wings for them to have shade, that kind of thing. Off of that checklist, event supply requests. I need to have that, a complete supply request, at least 2 weeks prior to the event. That way I can go to the storeroom and to the trailer and double check to make sure those supplies are in fact there and able to be used. Because that gives me a week to make any repairs that I need, or a week to let the autocrat know, hey, you're gonna have to get this thing. And the reason why I say it needs to be at least 2 weeks prior, so the autocrat has a week, is because the weekend before an event, I'm going to load the trailer. The autocrat should be with me when I load the trailer, and we will load what is on the list. And only what is on the list, because loading that is when we change what we take, changes the load plan.
Yeah.
And getting supplies after I've loaded the trailer means if they get brought to the event, I don't have a good way to bring them back. So make sure, anybody who's gonna be an autocrat, make sure you have a complete list. double check it, triple check it before you send it to me. And then when we load up, you need to be there. That way, because don't get me wrong, I've done things where we almost forgot the signs for the event because it wasn't on the supply list. And when I looked over, I'm like, we're gonna need those. So the autocrat needs to be there when I load up, and we're gonna load up a week prior, yes.
How do you feel about using this process for Mason Grade, which I think is our next large?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just make it a thing. Can we get it, can we get it rolled out and ready for Mason Grade, and then let's
Yes.
run it for Mason Grade?
Yes.
Cool.
Mason Grade, that is the next event.
How about Melee?
Also,
Oh, is it, do I have it
Melee
backwards?
is
it
after
Melee,
Mason
then
Grade.
Mason Grade?
Melee's after.
Melee,
Melee.
yes. We'll work on it. Recovery weekend. I really need to have some help on the recovery after an event. That includes taking the stuff that doesn't live in the trailer off the trailer again and put it back in the storeroom. It needs to happen relatively soon after our event. Our next open weekend is unfortunately the 13th and 14th.
Yep.
And part of the recovery is the fact that our old black and white does have a pinprick in it. Well, it's more than a pinprick, it's about a hole the size of my pinky finger, that I need to get repaired. That's part of the recovery. So what has been happening recently, and I am at fault for not pushing this, is we're not getting the recovery done until it's like, oh shit, I have no other time, I need to get this done now. Yeah. So in addition to the sewing of the canvas for the Costco, I would like to get some help potentially during our fighter practice to unload some of the extra stuff from the trailer that doesn't always exist in the trailer. The final thing for me is donations to the Barony. Donations to the Barony, I cannot and really do not wish to take donations of any type at an event for two reasons. One, it throws off my load plan, and that's really annoying. And two, any donation, there's a form that is supposed to be filled out for the exchequer and the seneschal actually have to fill it out.
Seneschal has to sign it.
Seneschal has to sign it. So if you have things that you wish to donate to the Barony, I will not be accepting them at events. You should probably bring them to either the business meeting, a court night, or arrange a time with.
Let's just say arrange, because depending on what they bring, any of us may have that problem, but
Yes.
we should arrange.
Arrange a time.
It needs to be arranged prior before you just randomly drop something off, because if you bring something to us without prior arrangement, we're gonna go, that's really cool, take it home, we'll arrange a time to get it from you.
I found a purpose for them.
That is, so, actually, Central, that is perfect. One of the things that I am putting together as I have offered to Autocrat Mason Greatsword is actually a handbook on how to run Mason Greatsword and what generally we need.
Yeah, so I had already started, before she took over, a autocrat checklist / handbook thing for general.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can always add in a page or whatever.
We can add in chapters for specifics for our
Right.
specific for Mason
Well,
Grade.
because things like Mason Greatsword has we need a prize for the mace.
Right.
We need to consider
So we
that
can
as
maybe
part
get
of our
all
bids.
together and
Yes.
focus on that.
We have that in our house.
Okay,
But we do still
but
have to do
again,
that.
that is something that has to be double
Yeah, this
checked,
is
that
for
we
the
do
bids.
have a mace, that we do have that prize, that we
Yeah.
do have the,
Specifics for the
Yes.
event, you know.
yes.
It's all really good stuff, Kay.
Yeah, that is it. Taka has other stuff.
Okay, other stuff, thank you. There's a PowerPoint.
There it is.
I love.
It's like the 3-5 Fox. Maybe.
I mean,
Possibly.
Okay.
You can minimize, the people upper right corner of that small, or upper left corner, sorry, there's a minimize. There you go.
All right, so I asked Amy Fiona for some time this evening because I have some ideas to the clan. We are a clan. Clan of Thunder Mountains. That's kind of how I picture us. That's how I envision us. We are a family. We're all part of the Bering March of Monster Nitrous. There are several sub-clans. We have households and guilds and academies and different activities with their own subcultures, and many of us belong to multiple of these sub-clans. We have families and individuals who are only tied to the overall clan or just a single clan. But we are all one clan of nobles, and we're all united under the Bering March of Monster Nitrous' shield and arms. We fight monsters and beasts. We stand forth and hold back the tide of the wild lands to the south and the barbarian kingdoms to the east, right? Right? We are the rangers and the wardens of the southern marches, and it takes all of us to be successful and to show that Monster Nitrous is full of amazing artisans, servants, archers, throwers, and fighters, because we are. It's up to us to work together. We need to try to be a slightly less dysfunctional family. I mean, we just have to be less dysfunctional than the other baronies, and that's really not that hard to do. It's on us to become a strong clan and to become those rangers and those wardens of the Thunder Mountains. We're small enough that we can do a lot of the things like a household and support each other in the barony, but it takes effort and commitment from everyone. The good gentles in this room and on this Zoom meeting this evening, well, you're already well aware of that, and just by being here. So you're already getting involved, and thank you so much for that. So I might be preaching to the choir. So I have a number of projects I'm adding to the list of things to do.
Yay!
These are ideas. There's nothing that says we have to do any of these things, but I think I presented this way back after the last Estrella War. Literally, I presented this at the first business meeting in March, the first business meeting after the Estrella War in March, before we knew the war was canceled and in preparation for the next Estrella War. We hadn't even shut down, the plague times had not come upon us fully yet. So once the war was canceled and we entered plague times, I kind of shelved all these ideas because it really was no longer pertinent to what we do. But now we have time. We have a new war. We have War of Phoenix. I did not present all of this before the first War of the Phoenix because that was such short notice. It would be way too hard, way too high level stress for us to try and get all that stuff. Any of the stuff that I have suggested on here to really get done. But now we have time. We have all the way until next February, beginning of February, to do some of these things. Some of these ideas are going to take time, and by their very nature are going to be ongoing projects. There's no reason to expect to get all of these things done. A lot of this stuff is going to be done continuously and upgraded on a regular basis. So we shouldn't expect to get everything done by next war, but there's a lot of things that I think we can do for a lot of people, for a lot of folks in our clan. Okay? Absolutely, and we'll talk about that last. I'm going to try and go really fast because, yeah. So the first one is the tapestries. The large tapestries that were done under Brigitte and Finn, they're lovely. They're beautifully done, and the populace did a great job on them, but they have a lot of issues. They're not treated for the outdoor use, so we can't really hang them up at outdoor events where there might be any chance of rain, because they will be utterly destroyed. Secondly, they require walls to be put up, or the back sides of them will detract from the look because they kind of bleed through for most of them. There's a few of them that aren't, but some work that needs to be done to make them attractive. We don't usually put up walls unless it's gonna be windy, like it was this weekend. And finally, they are not sized to be used in either of our pavilions. They are too long, too tall, awkwardly shaped, and we have some work to do to get them up. So the first thing is to treat them for outdoor use, if possible. I do not know if it's possible or not. So that's something who knows more about fabrics and fabric arts needs to look into and help us with on that one. The next is to back them with a solid fabric, so since they are all only one-sided, so we don't have to look at a weird mishmash of colors on the back side and detract from them. And finally, we've talked about it before, but we have some excess poles that are essentially about to be disposed of, that are old tent poles, old flag poles, just old poles that were donated to the Barony and aren't being used for anything. We can potentially cut those down, put some ring eyelets on either side, and actually put them up on the side walls to provide support that won't stretch and destroy the canvas, and that will actually help hold them. We might have to do some work on some of the tapestries to make that work, but I think it can be done, and something for us to consider.
Hey, Tucker.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm only going to say that there's two chat. There was one person that must have posted in the chat. Now there's two, and I'm wondering if they have questions. Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt while you were talking about something in particular, so I was like, I'll do it right at the end.
Oh, can't see the screen.
I'm not getting that block. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, I'm not seeing that block on the screen. Mine is totally clear. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. Can we share this PowerPoint later?
It is shared to the screen. My intent is to actually put it together now for Lady Labasita,
okay,
and maybe for the Chronicle, and to get something to social media that can be shared out as well.
Fantastic.
So I will put this out so it can be looked at, because the rest of the populace needs to see this stuff as well, because they are part of it, and it's important for them as well. Go back. All right, so I am trying to go very fast. I apologize. If somebody's got a question in the room, raise your hand up, and I'll try and answer your question.
Yes, can I also put this in the Thunderbolt?
Yes, I intend to put it into an article format for you so that you can put it into the Thunderbolt. You said the 10th of May was your deadline. I will have it to you this week.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Come on now. There we go. Gotta go back. Hang on. Yep, okay, there we go. All right, tournament trees and in and out signs. Some time ago, Dame Fiona made for us a tournament tree. I think we used it once. Maybe once. And since then, it's pretty much been sitting in the storage room, gathering dust and having things thrown on top of it. I'm not joking. It'll take some effort to get every fighter's arms so we can use the baronial tree, because it's a really cool idea and works really awesome. We look at Tiriskathir, we look at Crown Tournament, and they use them all the time. And Dame Fiona's is a very unique design, which I think is much more aesthetically pleasing. So it's going to take some effort to make sure that it's squared away. It will take some effort to get all the fighters' arms on there.
Do you still have the?
Yes.
We still have the shields, yes. So we can still do all of that, and we know how to do that, and we can get all that done. But I think that we can also use that as an in and out sign at War of the Phoenix. We could potentially use it at any of our events, but specifically I'm thinking War of the Phoenix. And that will take more effort, because then we want to get everybody's arms on there. We'll need separate arms for the Baron, Baroness, and all the officers in the barony as well, so that we can say whether or not those folks are there. I don't know how much room is on the tree, so we'll have to take a look at it. This is mostly just an idea, but we've thrown around the idea of using an in and out board, and we've seen that at a number of different wars. So you can walk up to the entrance of a camp and see, oh, the Baron and Baroness out here, they're at the battlefield, so I'll go down to the battlefield, fine. And so we can do some things like that, and we'll have to look at the tree to see if it can be used in that manner. But I think it should be relatively easy to modify. for use at the War of the Phoenix. If not, then we should potentially look at creating a different kind of tree that we could use as an in-out sign at the gate. Make sense?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? All right, moving on. Come on. All right. Next is the baronial trailers. I propose that we look at the idea of marking our trailers. Marking our trailers so that they're easily recognized as our trailers. So we could put website information on there, we could put QR codes, we can make it very easy for people who are interested to take a look at them and see who we are, and we can use them as a driving advertisement. These are just concepts. I've got the shield and the arms on there for the Thunderbolt and all the marshals on there for the Marshals trailer. These are just examples. We could do something different. We could throw this out to the parity and they could talk about it. We could come up with a consensus idea for each of these trailers.
The bonus of actually marking our trailers is if, God forbid, they get stolen, it'll be way easier to find.
You have her mark the top so the helicopters can.
Nice.
So the helicopters can use them as helipads. I believe the best way to do this is going to be a large vinyl sticker. I have not looked into costs. I think the first thing is to figure out what we want to put on it before we worry about checking into costs. This is one of those long-term, ongoing projects. Because the first thing we need to do is clean off the Marshals trailer. It's still got garbage all day. Yes, ma'am.
Instead of the vinyl stickers, maybe check into wraps.
Yes, that's kind of the idea that I was going with. Yes. Okay, and so this is just an idea for us to consider. It ends up costing money for the barony, and I think the barony populace should be involved in trying to figure out what we want to put on there at some point. Ongoing project, future to look at.
Sounds like a good investment.
Eventually, yes. Within your ring, I think it's possible. All right, come on, next. All right, next, we're getting close to the end. Camp walls. We talked about this a while ago. If you guys walked around War of Phoenix and you saw some of the camps with the walls with all their arms and all their shields and all their stuff on it, that's what I propose we do. Okay, 5x5 is a pretty, I think we should, what this requires is each baronial member to get a portable hole or two of their own and to create their own 5x5 wall that can then be put up when they show up to the War of Phoenix. And as the populace members show up, we get a bigger and bigger wall until we are completely enclosed with all of our populace members except for a few entering exits. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
And of course, like there should be like a template or a standard like size and way that someone would make their 5x5.
Oh, snaps.
All right.
Yes, and this is just an example.
Nice.
So, this is just an example. On the left, as you look at, that's my arms as the moon. On the right is Ewa Kentai's as a shield. And of course, the baronial stuff in the middle. And yes, the idea would be that we would all have the same kind of template, same size, same idea. So that would be some uniformity. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, again, these are ideas. We'll throw them out to the rest of the populace and let them think about what they're interested in doing. This is one that everybody can do on their own to get their own project. We can potentially go to Lady Mariette's, not Marinette. And so
I'm calling her Marinette from now on.
And project it on the walls and make these banners. And I have to tell you that part of this is inspired from Mistress Gwenfrey and Master Seamus, because at the last Estrella, they had the most awesome setup. I don't know what they had this year at War of the Phoenix because I was only in and out for a day, but I still remember the fact that we were so small at that last Estrella, and their setup and their display was just beautiful. So, all right, try to move fast. Next one, we're gonna go right to banners, which also this one is as well is Mistress Gwenfrey's fault. So we don't just we have an ensign. We have a populace device. We have a War Beast banner badge device that has been approved. We have a bunch of cool heraldry in the barony that never gets used. And I think we could show a lot of esprit de corps by getting our own banners. Get your own personal banners out in front of your tent. Line the roads. It just looks amazing. We've all driven by some camp and they've got flags lining their tent, lining in front of the tents, out in front of their stuff. It looks amazing. And so I think this will go a long way to making us look as awesome as we actually are. All right? And along those same lines, why don't we all have baronial tabards or coats or something in the baronial colors? Why not?
Great idea.
We started talking about that with the Shadow Lane and I. It just kind of came out, and there was a donation from our Baroness that looked like someone was wearing a tabard. I'm like, that looks easy to make. We can put so that's already been kicked around.
Yeah, and this is from 2020. These are ideas that we've had.
We used to have baronial tabards.
Right.
They became unserviceable due to the fact that they.
So here's my thought. My thought is not that they are baronial tabards. My thought is that Lady Katra has her own coat that is in baronial colors.
That fits her
Lady
persona.
Megan has her own tabard or mandelion or coat or dress that is in baronial colors, so that we can all have baronial colors. They're not restricted to the Baron and Baroness. That's not the only people who can wear the white, green, and black in whatever combination that you want. Okay? And that's my idea. We can make an ocean of baronial colors with your own arms on it.
The last time we had baronial tabards, it was the king required 25 fighters on the field, and that's why Mariette became a crossbow fighter, was because we needed 25 people, and we didn't have 25 hard suit fighters at that point. But the barony did make a whole bunch of them, and we used them for several years. But again, they get worn out, and it was a baronial thing as opposed to an individual thing. And so you go, oh, hey, you're fighting, and you stick them on everybody, and then it goes home with them to get washed, and it doesn't come back or whatever. So.
Or it comes back and it's ripped anyway.
We can do both. We can potentially have a workshop where we put together baronial tabards that are the barony's property that we can hand out to fighters as they need them, because not everybody's going to have a green, white, and black fighting thing.
I like that idea.
I was gonna ask Lady Chaska is there a pattern for that already, or?
There are plenty of tabards and coats and cloaks.
There are patterns, and we have the patterns. So
we can that would be easy
yes,
enough.
this is probably a great sewing project for your sewing project, Lady Chaska, sewing weekends.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be great.
At the same time, I would like to encourage all of the Populous members to do something that is in the baronial colors, that is really, literally yours.
You can do your own persona, your own style of
yes. Match your persona. It can be Middle Eastern, it can be Japanese, it can be whatever.
It can be Incan.
It can be however you want to put it together. I think that's the way to go. Yes, ma'am.
Chaska threw out an idea that same night too, and maybe it would be good to ask now and ask later, like let people think about it. What about also having a tabard that the guard for the events?
Yes.
The guard for the Baron Baroness would wear, and that stays with baronial stuff. And when the guard is chosen or shows up, that's when you wear it.
So
possible idea.
So that is
so there's a few.
There are champions things.
Right.
But one of the things that we have, and I am absolutely guilty of this, I wear a lot of clothes already. I don't want to put another thing on over my 4 layers of garments already. So that was why we encourage an individual to make a baronial thing that is theirs. Right. That way they are not they have a thing that they can go, oh, I'm gonna stand guard. Let me put on my baronial coat.
Right. Or
so I can stand guard.
As a compromise, rather than a full coat or a tabard, a sash or an armband or something like that.
There we go.
Could be
Yeah.
something that could be used for a burial guard who don't have
To
their own
like
colors
look the
yet.
same,
Right.
but not be cumbersome.
Because not everybody's going to have right away green and white and black burial colored garb. So for those who don't, or who didn't have it clean, or who knows, I don't even want to talk about what's in my library room right now. So,
The dust.
I know. So, but that is also an option. It doesn't have to be a lot because, as she said, I'm wearing 4 layers of cloth already. Throwing something over top becomes kind of a hassle, and she wears a layer more than I do. So.
But some element of uniformity would be,
Right, some element of uniformity for the guard, we used to have sheriff tabards.
We still have sheriff.
We still have sheriff tabards, and so there's lots of things that we can do. Now, that is my next to last slide. And so going forward, I think we need to do some planning and coordination via Facebook and to get as many people involved as possible. Everybody needs to get with potentially Lady Chaska to make their own garb. We can talk about doing classes for banners. We can potentially do classes and workshops for the walls. I have added a whole bunch of potential stuff to our already mostly empty calendar because we don't have anything going on.
Yukiko Sama has offered Project Night to do some of these things as well.
First Friday,
Right, and so in the past, the project nights are quite often, you can do whatever you want, right? Whatever you need to get done, it can be done on a project night. We do a workshop, we can have a workshop I'm working on walls and you know, Paul is working on his tablet. I mean, we don't have to work on the same thing in each one of these workshops. It can be something that's multiple events going on at the same time. So we're Barony, we're a clan, we're family. I think we need to help each other. And I think the idea I have kind of is to show a little pride in our Barony and to show a little pride in our actually pretty small clan here. I think we have 80 odd people who are registered. So I think that this could go a long way towards showing some pride in our clan.
Thank you very much.
It sounds like some of that is good for the individual to just take off with and do whatever is good and comfortable for them, but then some of it sounds like for like the baronial matter and spending for the Barony, if it's not someone that's like, I'm just gonna donate it and I have the skills to do so and the tools and the equipment and the money. So it sounds like some of it should be organized and planned. And then like you said, there's some of it that's attainable maybe before the next war. So I'm curious as to how that gets started after your presentation now and after like just revealing it to the public so that they understand that this might be happening, here's how you can be involved or look out for more information.
I will go ahead and put this together for social media and for the Chronicler. Social media will get out first because time frame and electronics and everything like that. I think that maybe we talk about it again at court.
Absolutely.
And we have people who aren't necessarily officers there, and we can start that discussion.
Fantastic.
With everybody else. That sound reasonable?
It does.
If I'm gonna put it out for social media, there's potential that it can be put on the website as well.
One of the things I can do in our group page is create a poll to see what members are either the most interested in first, and we just start planning days, and I'm happy, again, every first Friday of the month, dedicate that to these events. Yep. And create space for that.
2 side thoughts. One, when these things come up as baronial, that'll get into who's paying for it, who's buying it, budget. And it doesn't mean we don't have the money. There might actually be a pocket we can use this way. But I'll take the tip of that spear now that we found the budget, figuring out if we've got some baronial spend in there that we can apply towards this sort of thing. The other, maybe more sympathy for the Herald. Even me watching this presentation going, darn it, I need to get my device done. I won't be the only person who now feels the pressure of getting my device done. So this will probably also cause a spike for the Heralds.
Prepare for work.
Good.
Yay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody in Barony that has the frame for making the banners? I have the paint and the silk, but I don't have.
There's
It
one.
has I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
We actually, when we got the War Beast approved, we actually purchased stuff to make banners and frames. So we actually do, Taka and I have, banner frames.
Oh, but we won't need
I know
more than
exactly
one
where they are.
frame, so if we can have a plan on how to make those frames.
I can get that because the frames that we have are literally the PVC stuck together ones.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I can work with PVC.
yes. Actually, and that reminds me, so you asked a few weeks ago about the green material that was in the storeroom. That green material is actually carnival booths that we made several years ago for one of our Thunderbolt tournaments. It includes those and PVC pipes to make the carnival booth frame. We could potentially repurpose those PVC pieces for that, because they're in the storeroom now. I took them out of, because I did actually get reimbursed. Did I get reimbursed? I didn't get reimbursed. Anyway, I didn't want them because they were for the Barony. So they're in the Barony stuff, and we can repurpose it as we need.
Song
So
of my people.
let's all think about this, and we'll come up with more ideas. It's gonna be on social media, so we can kind of carry the conversation on there, and then we'll come up with multiple plans. Okay.
Really great idea, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two more
Great.
lines.
So one thing that I need to talk about, someone needs to talk about, is we need a steward for our champions event.
Yeah, I got it on the calendar.
We talked about that when we went back and forth, if we were gonna do it, and beyond needing a steward, we need a bid, we need a BFC, we need to even
Well,
accept someone.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what we're saying, is
Yeah,
we
July
need,
15th.
we need people to put in bids to be the steward of our champions event. July 15th?
So we are committing to it, 'cause we
It's on the
have.
it's on the Kingdom calendar.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, it's
one,
on, sorry.
so one thing that Lady Cotter and I had spoken about earlier, just very quickly, we are going to try to put together an autocrat, how to put in a bid, what you need to have, etc., to make putting in bids easier, to make it a less scary process. We do need to get this taken care of as soon as this is
Yeah, this one
May,
kind of
June,
snuck up
July.
on us.
We're looking at 3 months out right now.
Yeah,
Can we, pick in the next court and do an A&S class on?
spell it?
Put together a bid?
H-A-M-C.
well, I think we got something lined up for the next day.
And she's been pushed back.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah, she's
no,
been.
But we can do something on how to be an autocrat.
We can do it
So
one-off.
We can do a little video.
Yeah, we can
Video or something.
Yes.
So I understand the reluctance, but we have
Oh, wait a minute, now that's it.
Zoom. It's actually an ideal place to do a how to be an autocrat class that could be taken outside of our normal ANS, and we could use the Zoom meetings to get people in who are interested in how to be an autocrat.
Well, and then it could be recorded.
I would say with the
for people to watch
recording
later.
and the timeliness of this, it's probably
Yes.
gonna be easier.
Okay.
So,
You want me to discuss this?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Or you can say a couple of these.
But that's, this is number two.
So the other thing is, at our last meeting, the Baron brought up that he kind of wanted to do something around the Southern War practice that we have been granted.
We've been tasked with hosting, it's ours.
So I sort of came up with a proposal of a war prep weekend where Friday and Saturday out at Empire Ranch, we would do classes on camping at war, making silk banners, making the camp wonderful, which kind of plays into what Taka has been talking about. How to be a consort, the courtesies on and off the field, that type of thing. Having a, since we are becoming the, or are, whatever, the hospitality barony.
We are.
I was thinking, after talking with Lord Gregory earlier, having an end of the road potluck on Friday afternoon, Friday evening.
Maybe Saturday probably.
Well, because I was thinking that, Friday to set up. All day Saturday would be the classes, but we camp on Friday. and then have an end of the road potluck, and that night we could have a fire pit, maybe some dancing and drumming, just to make it fun. So it's not just a one-day thing, it's, you know, meeting in
Keep in mind,
Saturday.
that in January, it will be
Well, this
cold.
is true, but we're gonna.
Well, that's why we need the fire pit.
That's why we built a big old fire.
Saturday, in honor of the Baron's device, we're gonna have a hot dog roast.
Baron's wiener roast.
Yay! So that would be our Barony doing the Friday afternoon, all day Saturday classes, archery, rapier, you know, scenarios to make it fun. Sunday, Kingdom takes over, it's their thing for Southern War practice. It's just a proposal, but it's something that we are thinking about, and some suggestions would be welcome. Just as
Not that I think it's a bad idea to have it twice, but why would we not do some of those classes and stuff at Melee Camp? For those people who aren't doing the Melee portions?
This is just something that, because he wanted to have more than just the one day thing. And I just thought, these are classes that could be at Melee Camp, they would fit perfectly. But also, this is just something so that, like, say a couple comes out and he wants to do, or she, don't get me wrong, Sunday's Kingdom War practice, now we can make it into a fun event, just.
I think those are fantastic ideas, and I think that we could take some of them and do a Melee Camp as well.
And we could do it twice.
Because not everybody's gonna be at both events.
Exactly.
So it's just something fun, make it an inexpensive event that's just fun and frivolous.
And it gives people a place to stay when they're traveling down here, and they don't necessarily have to get a hotel room. Hey, let's get your stuff out, make sure it all works.
Yeah.
With
A
your
good
help.
dry run. This is a potential practice that's gonna be done in January.
It's not a potential, the practice on the Sunday will happen.
The practice will happen, but
The event itself is still kind of a.
So the actual 2024 calendar, I think, still needs to be approved by the Kingdom Seneschal. So everything we're discussing right now is hypothetical, but I expect to get the approval. It's already on the proposed calendar for Iman's event the day before the Sunday war practice. And so the idea is, well, what are we going to do with that? There have been a couple ideas going around, and this is the one that's kind of taken the most form.
Well, ideas, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm turning it over to you guys. Do you have anything?
No. No, I think we're good. I want to thank you, Taka, again for your presentation. I found it inspiring. And I'm looking forward to implementing some of that stuff. I won't keep any of you any longer than I need to. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all for helping us put together an awesome event.
Yes.
For being chill about everything and having a good time with it.
And I am very proud of this parent.
Any questions that need to be discussed in meeting?
Is the Southern War practice then at Empire Ranch, Elgin, where we were just at?
If we decide to do it that way, yes.
Okay, so for those
Otherwise,
of us
we
who
could do it like at Arvin's Field.
Right, yeah, Arvin's Field is kind of the other option on the table. But
that would just be for one day, Sunday only.
The only thing I was thinking, like, I froze to death in my tent. And it was not January.
So this is the perfect reason to learn how to camp.
Yes, that. Also, there's
And make a wool coat.
There's something to be said about day tripping as well, because Empire Ranch is close. So I just wanted to make sure I got all of that straight.
But for the people traveling from Twin Moons,
Who may need to
from Granite Mountain, Aaron School, that's a much longer
That's
drive.
not a day trip. And
And
I wanna
some place
know-
to set up and camp is potentially attractive.
I wanna know how they keep warm, and
This is
yeah,
true.
wool
Bring
is one
extra
thing.
blankets.
Propane.
Blanket.
We're gonna have
Buddy heaters.
Make
does
it
not
at
help.
8:29.
That sounds good.
Not if the temperature can get out there in
All right.
January.
Uh,
It can be in the teens or below.
Lady Umbra?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, unless you happen to be like me and have a disability triggered by cold. That would be, that can be in the teens out there or lower.